This probably get me in trouble, but I said to some of my colleagues recently, so I know that it's an issue, but it seems like every single day on television I'm talking about race, and it's because of the news cycle, it's in the news, but sometimes I get so tired of talking about it, I want to just go, this is over, can we move on?
And if you talk about it, it exists.
Right.
But making it a bigger issue than it needs to be is the problem we have.
You still have your whiteness. That's what the term white privilege is. It means that whiteness still gives you an advantage no matter what.
It's perfectly normal to feel a little bit guilty talking about privilege. But if it helps, having privilege isn't your fault. It's something you inherited, not something you did wrong.
I have white privilege. There, I said it. I said it. I did it. I can handle that.
How do I have the privilege of white privilege?
David, by virtue of being a white male, you have white privilege.
Ariva, I hate to break it to you, but you should have been better prepped. I'm black.
She immediately defaulted to an attack, which is a false narrative. There is no such thing as white privilege.
America is racist. It is not enough to be not racist. You have to be anti-racist. Yes. If you're white, if you look like me, use your privilege. And for those who do not think white privilege exists, you are blind. You are delusional, and you are part of the problem.
You affirm that white privilege and the culture of white supremacy must be dismantled wherever it is present. Yes. Do you support racial equity, justice, and liberation for every person? Yes. Will you strive to understand more deeply the injustice and suffering white privilege and white supremacy cause? Yes.
I'm calling on the State Board of Education to end the teaching of history and the local school districts to take immediate action by removing the current history books and curriculum practices that unfairly communicate our history until a suitable alternative is developed.
We white Americans need to do a better job of listening when African Americans talk about the seen and unseen barriers you face every day. We need to recognize our privilege and practice humility. We need to recognize our privilege and practice humility.
I think it's really important that my children understand that, and I think it's particularly important that they understand that as white children of privilege, because I want them to erode that privilege throughout their lives to ensure more people are enfranchised and that equality isn't just an ideal.
The important thing for white parents to keep in the front of our mind is that if black children in this country are not allowed innocence and childhood without fear of being killed by police or marginalized in some other way, then our children don't deserve innocence. If they can't be innocent, we don't get to be innocent. And if we would keep that in the front of our minds, then perhaps we would be able to hear what black and brown folks are telling us every day and have been for many years.
I think, I think the Republican Party is the most diverse party on earth. When I look at the Republican Party, especially Republican congressmen, I see every shade of white under the sun, Chris. I see white men, I see old white men, young white men, I see white men with facial hair, some white men with fades. I even see some white women. Some are blonde and some are brunette.
All white people benefit from racism with white privilege. If you are not actually dismantling racism, if you are not going to pull people up from the bottom of the pyramid to the top, then you are participating and benefiting from racism.
We're concerned that current school history teachings lead to white privilege and a racist society.
I didn't think being a girl from New Jersey with a father who was a used car dealer and we didn't have a lot of money was privileged. Like, I didn't understand that. And I think that's the disconnect that a lot of white people are seeing now, that it doesn't mean that your life didn't have problems. It means that your life didn't have the problems that people of color encounter every single day.
Yeah, people get defensive about it. White people, obviously, you've witnessed it. I've witnessed it. Probably anyone from a marginalized community who's going to listen to this will have witnessed it, that the second we talk about that every white person in this country is racist, and they're racist in the sense that they benefit from the structure the way that it is. So they don't have to, white people always think, well, I'm not a racist. I would never use a racial slur. I don't do this. I don't do that.
So tired of hearing two white men Yeah.
Tell us what systems of oppression are. For Christ's sake. No, you don't know what systems
what we're
of
asking.
oppression are.
Susan,
And
that's
you
what we're
haven't
asking is
been
for people to know.
oppressed.
Yes. Well, but
Why are you guys even talking?
Because we were elected to do a job,
This is
and
like
this is our
if
job.
you guys
I'm
wanted
sorry
to
I
tell
got-
us what it was like to have a menstrual cycle. You don't know what you're talking about. You have not spent a day with dark brown skin and tried to walk through this society from birth. You have been white from birth. Why are you arguing what is a system of oppression? You've never experienced one. You are not oppressed, and people in
and I'm not
Oak
saying I
Park
am.
are, and we are trying to recognize that as a community. This mayor and this board is obviously not willing to face history. We have a chance to make history. It is time for this community to face equity. Enough. And you stop it. You are a white male. You stop it. You are a white male. Your skin is light enough.
White people are racist. So I put this up because I really want any white person in the room to know up front that this is what we're dealing with, that it's not going to be this coddling of white tears and what that looks like. We're not going to discuss, oh, maybe some of us have worked it out. No, you're always going to be racist, actually. So even when you're on your path to trying to figure out how to be a better human being, because I believe that white people are born into not being human, like that actually instead of people of color and black folks being dehumanized, that actually everyone is dehumanized off rip within white supremacy, that y'all are born into a life to not be human, and that's what y'all are taught to do, to be demons. So in this particular way, white people are all racist.